Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we are straight into Tmodloader. We are going to be adding a bow to our mod, and yeah. For basic, all I'm going to do is just a bow that uses wooden arrows to shoot out wooden arrows. And for advanced, I'm going to teach you how to make your own arrow. So we're going to our develop mods, and we're going to open up our sources. Alrighty, so now that you're in your mod sources, you're going to go to your mod, items, and now we're going to make a copy of our test sword. And the name of this copy, this doesn't matter. I mean, it does. Name what you want it to be named. I'm going to make a bow called the Scout, and I've already made a PNG file for it, so you're going to need one of those. You can just find a placeholder online. Now, obviously, the first thing you're going to want to do is change this to be the proper name, as that's very important. Okay. Now, this is going to be something that you can get after the twins, so I'm going to make it accordingly. So, for their damage, we're going to do 90. For our class, this doesn't matter, that's just what I'm doing. For our class, we're making a bow, which is type ranged. So, we're going to do ranged. Now, width and height are the hitbox of the actual weapon. This doesn't matter as we're making a bow. Now, the use time is going to be how much time it takes to shoot. So the use time is going to be how many ticks pass before you shoot another projectile. So for doing a bow, so I think 30 would be good. Now the use animation is going to be how long the animation takes, which is going to be 30. And now the use style, this is the actual animation that plays, which 1 is a swing, but we're doing a bow, we don't want a swing. So we're going to set this to 5. Which is actually shooting. Like if I go to my other bow, you style 5. Right there. And a knockback, you're going to want something. Right, yeah, that's just. Been over this before, but still. Now I'm going to set that to sight so we can craft it after that. And now there's a few more things we're going to need to add to make this a bow. The first two are going to make it not a sword. So we're going to do item.noMelee equals true. Now this means that it will not do any melee damage. And the second one is item.useAmmo equals ammo id.arrow. Now what this does is this sets the ammo required to use it to anything with the ID arrow. Now bows need arrows as ammo. And now we need an actual projectile to shoot. If you watch my video on the sword expert, you would know how to do this. But we're going to do item.shoot equals 1. 1 is just a basic arrow, and if we set it to 1, it'll replace it with whatever use ammo is. Now, if you're making something like the beekeeper, you could obviously set your own projectile here. But we're just going to do 1. And then one more, item.shoot speed. This is the velocity of your arrow. I would recommend 20 for just a default arrow around this point in progression. And this should actually be everything you need. Hopping into our world, I can get, first of all, some arrows. I'm going to get some cursed arrows and just some normal arrows, as well as our bow, which I named the Scout. And if I can actually find it. Yep. There we go. And you can see we have a bow. My texture is backwards, but that's obviously my fault. And yeah. So, yep, this is after rebuilding and everything. And if I were to swap what ammo I'm using, you can see it swaps what ammo I'm using as it should, which is, in my opinion, really cool. So, here. Alrighty, now for the advanced section, I'm going to be making a custom arrow that it's going to be pretty bare bones, but this is mainly just to teach you the core basics of custom projectiles and how to make weapons, use those instead. Alright, so hopping back into our mod, you'll go ahead and see that I've made a new folder named Projectiles, and all I have in here is a new texture for Scout.I.png and Scout.I.cs. Now, in the CS document, I don't have anything yet, but I'm just going to copy and paste this code, which will be in the description, and this is just going to be some pretty basic code. Right here, we're going to do test for YT, as that's my mod namespace. Right here, we are going to do Scout.I. Now, all of these are things you can change. Now, the damage is going to be set by the bow itself, so that's why you might notice that's not in here. Now, AI-style 1 is going to be for an arrow. If you want to make a bullet, you're going to do AI-style 0. And yeah, I'm going to leave this as AI-style 1. Now, all these are funny things, so I'm going to go over everything that we don't know yet. Friendly, this is if this is a projectile the player would shoot. If so, true. Hostile means the opposite, is this something an enemy would shoot. Penetrate is its pierce, so something like a wooden arrow would have 1, meanwhile something like a jester's arrow would have like 999. Then you have some things that are in between, so just really depends. If you have low damage, then you might want to balance it with this. Time left is the lifespan of your projectile. This is 10 seconds right here, which is decent. And light is a light level emitted. I am personally just going to comment this out. Actually, no, I'll leave this low. Then TileCollide, if this is true, then it will act like a normal projectile, hit tiles. If this is false, it'll be able to go through them. And IgnoreWater, I'll set this to true, which just means it will not slow down or anything if it collides with water. So this is basically everything you'll need to know right now. There's obviously more advanced things you can do. But yeah, as of right now, this is it. Now, before we actually save and play, there's going to be one more thing we're going to need to do, and that's change item.shoot from 1, aka wooden arrow, to our projectile, which we are going to do item.shoot equals mod.find ModProjectile, and CS is going to want you to use parentheses. We are going to do the Scout.I.type. And this will replace it instead of 1, which is what we were using previously for the projectile. We're going to go to our mod, we're going to find a mod projectile with the name Scout.I and use that as a projectile. And with that, you should actually be done. You can now see that rather than shooting arrows, our weapon now shoots a massive eyeball. Now, there are a few things I would like to point out before we continue. One of those things is that I have changed the size of the eyeball, the bow a considerable bit. Yeah. And the second two things are, 1, I made it so it no longer requires ammo, and 2, this now has the AI of a bullet rather than an arrow. And I did both of these things as prior to doing that, it was still just shooting regular arrows. And I don't know if that has something either to do with the fact that I'm using arrows as ammo, which it shouldn't, because weapons like the Beekeeper exist. And either that, or, well, if it has the same ID as a wooden arrow, it would just replace itself with whatever projectile is necessary. But luckily, this appears to be working. And hopefully your mod projectile is working too. And with that, I hope you have a great time modding, and a great, wonderful rest of your day. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Modding Terraria. If you did, be sure to check out the rest of the playlist, and I'd love to see what type of mods you make. If you send me their Steam links in the descriptions, I'll be sure to check them out and maybe make a video about it. But yeah, if you have any suggestions for things you'd like to do, or any problems that you need fixed, just report them in the comments, and I'll be sure to check every single one that I get and help you with all your problems. And I'm gonna try and start making one of these every 2 days, so yep, stay tuned. This should be coming out on a Thursday, which means the next one will be the Saturday. And yeah, this weapon was actually really underpowered. I had to end up butchering the twins at like a 5/6 of their health. So let's hope that the mage weapon I make, the destroyer, is better than this. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll have the code in the description, and yep, see you next time.